Welcome back to Lonely Star listeners. Tonight we've got a really intriguing one in store for you. We're going deep on the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, yeah, this one. I've been looking forward to this one. Lots to unpack here.
Yeah, it seems like every time you think you've got a handle on this thing, another layer pops up. Is it just this religious relic, or is there something more to it? I mean, some of the research you sent over had me raising an eyebrow or two.
Well, that's the fun of it, isn't it? We're talking about something that bridges ancient beliefs, potential lost technology, and maybe even some hints of the truly unexplained.
Right. So, listeners, buckle up. Our mission tonight is to go through all of this, these different theories and accounts. We want to try and understand what this ark was, where it went, and why it still fascinates us. We've got biblical descriptions, modern theories, even some claims that, well, let's just say they push the boundaries of what we think we know.
Absolutely. And it's a puzzle with a lot of pieces. But let's start at the beginning, shall we? I mean, where else? The origins.
Right, the origins. The ark, in many people's minds, it's tied to those classic biblical stories, created on divine instruction. Acacia wood overlaid with gold, housing those key religious items, Ten Commandments, Aaron's rod, the pot of manna. It's powerful imagery.
It is. And for a lot of folks, that's the whole story. But some of the research you dug up throws a real curveball into that narrative, doesn't it? Like the idea that Moses, he didn't actually receive these divine instructions, but he got the idea from a similar box, something he saw in Egypt.
I gotta admit, that's a pretty big shift. Makes you wonder, right? What if the ark wasn't this purely divine artifact, but based on, well, something else entirely? What would that say about its original purpose? I mean, that's a whole different ballgame.
It changes the whole context, yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you're not talking about just divine inspiration, but maybe cultural exchange, technology transfer, and it doesn't stop there, right? Some theories go even further, saying the Ark wasn't something humans built or even reverse engineered. It was given to us by someone or something else.
See, that's what I mean about raising an eyebrow. The idea that something so central to a major religion could be, well, extraterrestrial in origin. It's a pretty big pill to swallow. And then you add in the stuff about its construction. One of the sources really breaks down the materials, the dimensions, the layering, saying it looks awful lot like a capacitor,
Yeah.
from our modern technology.
Now that's where it gets interesting, because if they're right and the ark's built like a capacitor, well, it must have been meant to do more than just hold those religious items. Makes you think, what kind of energy could it have stored or generated?
Well, and that ties into what everyone seems to agree on, right? That this thing,
Yeah.
it had power. Serious power. Whether you're looking at the Bible or those more out there theories, the ark is dangerous. You needed special clothing just to be near it. People got sick, even died from touching it without permission, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and Billy Carson, in that theory of his, he's very clear. He's saying the ark, it emitted radiation straight up. And when you look at the biblical accounts and those other descriptions, the symptoms are, well, they're pretty disturbing. Hair loss, bleeding. It lines up with radiation sickness almost too well.
It's creepy, isn't it? The parallels are pretty stark. Makes you wonder, did they revere the ark because they truly understood this power? Or were they just afraid of it? Afraid of what it could do if they, well, messed up?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What did they really know back then? And what's been lost or maybe deliberately hidden over time? And it wasn't just, making people sick. There are those stories about the Jordan River splitting, the walls of Jericho falling. And one source goes so far as to say the Ark, it could actually warp reality.
That's a big claim. And it brings up a question that one of the sources, the terrifying truth, I think it was called, really hits on. Why would a divine being, a god, need a physical object, a box made of gold, to make those things happen? It doesn't quite add up.
It really challenges that traditional view, doesn't it? Like, what's the relationship between the spiritual and the physical? What does it mean for divine power if it needs to be channeled through something like the Ark?
And then you've got that whole story with the Philistines. They capture the ark and they get hit with plagues and death until they finally give it back. Divine retribution. Or maybe, like one theory suggests, it was like an accidental bioweapon going off.
Right. The unintended consequences of messing with something you don't understand, it adds a whole new dimension to the story, doesn't it? Either way, it highlights how powerful, how potentially dangerous this thing was.
So we've got this object of immense power surrounded by mystery and, frankly, danger. And then it vanishes. 587 BC, traditional date. Babylonians sack Jerusalem, destroy Solomon's temple. That's when the ark disappears.
But here's where it gets even weirder. One source, the Ark of the Covenant wasn't a myth, it was a warning. Makes a good point. The Bible mentions the Ark being there in the temple before the destruction, but then nothing. No mention of the Babylonians taking it or destroying it. It just vanishes.
It's like it just stepped off the stage of history. You'd think something that important, that valuable, would have left more of a trace. I mean, wouldn't it be in the Babylonian records or something? This is what really gets the theories going, right? Where did it go?
Exactly. You've got the classic theories hidden under the Temple Mount, smuggled out of the city. Or maybe, yeah, the Babylonians did melt it down for the gold.
Yeah.
But then things get a lot more, shall we say, interesting.
Oh, yeah, the more fringe theories. The terrifying truth
Mhm.
mentions the Vatican
Oh,
and their extensive archives, hidden away somewhere in the Vatican, secret knowledge, lost artifacts. It definitely plays into that whole conspiracy theory vibe.
it certainly captures the imagination. But then you have the Ethiopians, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. They've maintained for centuries that they have it. The Ark in Axum, guarded by a single monk. No one else is even allowed to see it.
That's one persistent story. And it gets even wilder when you bring in those claims from the Joe Rogan podcast. They talk about the priests guarding the Ark, allegedly in Ethiopia, suffering from what looks like radiation poisoning, going blind, dying young.
No.
If that's true, it really makes you think, could they be, paying the price for being near this thing?
If those claims are accurate, it would lend a lot of credence to the theories about the Ark being, well, radioactive, or at least possessing some kind of dangerous energy. I mean, why else would its guardians suffer like that?
And then, of course, we have to talk about Ron Wyatt. Now, his claims are, well, they're definitely out there. He said he found the Ark and even got a blood sample from the Mercy seed.
A blood sample. Now, that's quite a claim. And according to your research, he took it even further. He had this blood analyzed in an Israeli lab. They found it had a really weird chromosomal makeup. 23 chromosomes from the mother and only one Y chromosome. And get this, he said the lab found the blood was still alive.
It's a lot to take in. He even explained why the lab technicians were skeptical at first. How do you get a chromosome count from dried blood? He said it's because they usually use living white blood cells. So basically, this blood, it was defying what we know about biology. Imagine if that's true. I mean, the implications are huge.
It's huge is right. It would really shake things up. But like with any claim that big, that extraordinary, you need proof. Solid proof. It's important to be, let's say, cautiously curious about these kinds of things.
Definitely. But even setting Wyatt's claims aside, we still have this central mystery. The Ark is gone. Its whereabouts are, well, officially unknown. Like, the Ark of the Covenant wasn't a myth, it was a warning. States, we don't know for sure where it is. And that brings us to what I think is one of the most fascinating possibilities. The terrifying truth puts it forward. What if the Ark wasn't just lost or hidden or destroyed? What if it was taken back, removed by whoever created it?
Now, that's an idea that really gets the gears turning. It fits with some of those more unconventional theories, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If this was a piece of advanced, maybe even dangerous technology, maybe its creators decided they wanted it back.
Right, like they just came and picked up their property. And if that's what happened, then who are those creators? And does it mean they could come back for it again someday? Maybe that's why it's missing from the history books. It wasn't hidden by humans. It was taken off the board entirely.
It definitely adds a whole new level of, let's say, cosmic intrigue to the story. It goes from a lost artifact to something that might just pop back into our world one day.
The Ark of the Covenant. It's not just some relic gathering dust in a museum.
Yeah.
It's a story that brings together religion, power, lost knowledge, and maybe, just maybe, something beyond our understanding. Divine instrument, Egyptian artifact, alien tech, who knows? But its disappearance leaves us with a lot of questions.
Yeah, the Ark is like a puzzle box. It makes us question what we believe, what we know about history, and maybe even our place in the universe. Because who knows what else might be out there, waiting to be rediscovered, or maybe waiting to return.
So listeners, what do you think? What's the truth behind the Ark?
A lot to ponder, isn't there?
Thanks for joining us on The Lonely Star for this deep dive into the Ark of the Covenant.
Until next time, keep looking up.
The truth is stranger than fiction. Goodbye, and we'll see you next time for another journey into the unknown.